We are born free and think little of that privilege until it is taken away. But millions of people worldwide lose this freedom and become prisoners in the $150 billion industry of human trafficking.
You feel that doesn't hit close to home? You might be surprised. Stay tuned. CS311 is next.
Crime Stop Jamaica and National Bakery, in association with TVJ and our sponsors, ICD Group, Grace Kennedy, Home and Things, Progressive Grocers and Guardsmen, present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
It is said that human trafficking is the most underreported crime in the world, maybe because it is too shocking to believe. Even in Jamaica, hundreds of people have fallen prey to this type of crime.
Trapped into forced labor, criminal activity, and sexual exploitation. We spoke to Stacey Ann Smith of Pursued International, an organization that counsels, mentors, and empowers victims of human trafficking.
Human trafficking is a big problem in Jamaica. We are the source of victims. We are the point where persons travel through, and we are also the destination point of human trafficking. We have had victims from several countries, including India, Guyana, Panama, and of course our local victims who are trafficked from parish to parish, city to city. It really is affecting our country. Sexual exploitation is when a person is forced or threatened to perform sexual acts against their will. Now, once they're under the age of 18, of course, sexual exploitation is already happening because you're under the age of consent. But for adults, you're probably taken from one point to another and forced to have sex. We also have forced labor, where you are forced to work under the threat of violence, where they're keeping your documentation from a different country. They are forcing you to work to repay a debt, which is called debt bondage. So the cost of carrying it from point to point, you now have to pay it back to them. And usually they're not paying you much, so this debt seems to keep mounting and mounting and mounting. There's also forced begging. We've had a case of that as well. And we've also had domestic servitude, which is when a person is forced to do domestic tasks, again, threat of violence, threat of documentation being taken, the threat of reporting you to authorities for immigration. So those are several of the examples of trafficking in Jamaica. Currently, Pursued International, we aid in providing counseling, whether by matching you to a service or providing it ourselves. There are persons on our team who are licensed psychologists, so we provide counseling or we fund counseling for victims or at-risk women. Human trafficking does happen for men as well. They're usually found in areas of forced labor, migrant work, working in fields, the fisheries, so mostly forced labor. We had a case here where some men were tricked from India and worked in several shops in Kingston. So we do have cases of men being forced into human trafficking. There's also some in commercial sexual exploitation as well, but the numbers are either underreported because of the nature of it, or also just not reported at all because they're not saying anything. The challenge with reporting many times is that our girls especially do not feel safe. There have been cases of persons who, even when rescued officially by the police, choose to not prosecute. And you think of things like Stockholm Syndrome, where persons are too afraid or identify, with their traffickers, and have even said to police that these persons treated them well, even though you're looking at a victim who is emaciated, who is malnourished, who you found in a room somewhere. They're unwilling to report. There is a mistrust. As of this year, we have rescued 6 persons. We have had 2 cases that we've actually been able to successfully prosecute. Between the time of 2014 and 2017, we had 39 children rescued from human trafficking. So the numbers are steadily increasing based on our awareness of it. So once we became a country that began to focus on human trafficking, more cases came up yearly. So the numbers are steadily increasing based on our awareness of it. So once we became a country that began to focus on human trafficking, more cases came up yearly. For potential victims, I would want to say know your rights and be aware, become knowledgeable about what exactly is human trafficking, and also be aware that sometimes when things look too good to be true, it is too good to be true. My advice to Jamaica on a whole is to open your eyes. There are many things in our culture that foster and facilitate human trafficking. Sending our kids to relatives to live because we think it's a better life. Leaving our kids with relatives for a better life. Not listening to persons when they say something is wrong, something is off. Our culture of not wanting to inform on something. We facilitate perpetrators being able to stay in the dark because we aren't doing our part to raise awareness, to make reports, to even listen to the persons who are victims. So open your eyes.
What an eye-opening interview. Of the reported 20.9 million trafficking victims worldwide, most are young girls and women. Captured, recruited, smuggled, and exploited. Here are some other facts that you should know.
The people trade in Jamaica and the Caribbean is a thriving business that appears to be on the rise. Did you know a study conducted in 11 Central American and Caribbean countries reported that between 2016 and early 2018, there were 968 trafficking victims. 25% were adult women, 9% adult males, 11% boys, with girls being the highest at 55%. Traffickers lure vulnerable and unsuspecting victims into enslavement. Then they use force, threats, lies, or psychological pressure to keep them quiet and in bondage, even in full view of the rest of society. A common tactic is grooming, where predators gain a person's trust to then manipulate them into participating in their own exploitation. For example, many job seekers have been tricked and captured by criminals offering them exciting but false job prospects. In May 2019, the local anti-trafficking unit rescued 12 children who were recruited at school by an individual who forced them into labor as beggars. Local victims are often trafficked to be taken abroad. Others are trafficked elsewhere and then smuggled into the country. Globally, trafficking is linked to horrendous crimes against humanity, such as forced religious conversion, forced marriage, rape and sexual abuse, forced abortions, physical and mental abuse, slave labor, among other injustices. Human bondage is not a horror of the past. Be on the alert. More on trafficking when we get back.
Many trafficking victims are lost to their families forever, disappearing with no trace in sight. But think of the agony of knowing the final fate of your loved one and still to be left wondering why. This was the case in this, our featured crime.
April 26, 2019 was crazy busy in downtown Montego Bay. It was the last Friday of the month. Citizens went about their business, not knowing that it would end in tragedy for one drunken individual. Sometime after 9:30 p.m., a police foot patrol was alerted to a person lying in the road on North Lane. The body had multiple stab wounds and appeared lifeless. Reports are that the victim, Dwayne Ratty Hall, a 37-year-old auto electrician, had spent the evening drinking rum. He became intoxicated and boisterous. He departed the bar and apparently started an argument with 3 men. The end result? Multiple stab wounds to the abdomen, shoulder and elbow. And Dwayne's body found lying in a pool of blood. The scene was processed by the police and the body removed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where Dwayne Ratty Hall was officially pronounced dead.
Who could have wanted to cut short the life of 37-year-old Dwayne Hall, and why? Without your help, these questions may haunt his family forever.
Was robbery the motive for this violent murder? A random attack? A crime of passion? Someone out there knows something.
Crime Stop is offering $200,000 for information leading to the arrest of the person or persons who killed Dwayne Hall. If you can assist, please call us at 311.
Many who go missing may very well have been captured as part of the local or global trade in humans, which means they may be powerless to get themselves back home.
But you can. Be on the alert for suspicious situations and look closely at these missing people. You may have spotted them recently.
Missing, brought to you by Progressive Grocers. An Ananda alert has been activated for 15-year-old Sandrine Watt of Lilliput, St. James. She has been missing since Wednesday, April 4, 2018. She's of brown complexion, medium build, and 157 centimeters or 5 feet 2 inches tall. Sandrine Watt was last seen at about 11:10 a.m. in the St. James Family Court and has not been seen since. She was wearing a yellow dress, grey sweater, and a pair of white slippers. 52-year-old Wayne Campbell of Scott Road, Kingston 13, has been missing since Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. He is of brown complexion, medium build, and is about 168 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. Mr. Campbell was last seen in his community at about 8 p.m., dressed in a burgundy sweatsuit. An Ananda alert has also been activated for 14-year-old Renee Campbell of Fraser's Content, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. She has been missing since Saturday, December 15, 2018. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and about 152 centimeters or 5 feet tall. She also has a chipped tooth and a scar on the right side of her forehead. Renee was last seen at home at 10:30 a.m. She was dressed in a white blouse, blue jeans, and a pair of black slippers.
Watch out, scammers are always on the lookout.
Yes, Jaji?
Hello, me putus.
How come you not talk to me now for 2 days?
I was talking to you last night in my dream, you know. But you never answer.
I miss talking to you, you know.
If I ever tell you what happened, is my wife. She's starting to get suspicious, you know.
So what you tell her?
That she find the receipts of the money that I sent for you.
So what you tell her?
Well, I tell her that you is my goddaughter and I'm helping you out with some school things.
Hello, I don't want nobody come mash up me here, you know.
Nobody can come in the place of me and you.
You love me, Jaji?
Who you must ask me a question like that? Of course me love you.
Then why you not come to Jamaica come look for me then?
You want me to come down here?
Yes, baby, them I want to see my man.
Me?
In person.
Your man? You really mean that?
Yes, Jaji boo.
Tell you what me brought me June Plum. I'm going to book the ticket right now.
Yes, baby. And Jaji, baby.
Make sure say in travel with a whole heap of money. You're still there?
Oh, and Jaji.
Yes, me pudding.
Make sure you travel with enough money, yeah?
It's true. I don't want anything to interfere with me and you having fun, you know. Tell me something. How much money you think I should travel with, sir?
$5,000, baby, US.
You think that will be enough?
If you want to carry more, nothing wrong with that.
All right. I'm going to travel with $10,000.
$10,000?
$10,000.
Baby, yes. Oh God, me die for you come. I want to rock your world. I'm going to rock your world when you get here.
I can hardly control my excitement.
Poor old man George. He thinks he's going to meet the love of his life. Some girl he meet over the internet. But what George don't realize is that she's just trying to lure him in. Then 2 weeks time, you hear him name all over the local news as a missing person. If it's too good to be true, then it's not true. Don't be like George. Be wise. Don't be scammed.
Up to the time of this filming, the following people were wanted by the police. Have you seen them?
27-year-old Kevon McCullum of Beacon Hill Thompson Pen Spanish Town, St. Catherine is wanted for questioning in connection to the murder of 22-year-old Rohan Jason Boogie Brown, who was killed on Sunday, January 20, 2019 at 8 p.m. on Chin Avenue, Beacon Hill. 25-year-old Leon Rose, otherwise called Hitler or Dids, a laborer of Sevens Road, Effortville District, Clarendon, is wanted in connection to the murder of Demar Minnie Lindsay, which was committed on Tuesday, May 21, 2019. Leon Hitler Rose is about 5 feet 7 inches tall, sports a bleached brown complexion and unkempt hair. Onique Oreen Thomas, otherwise called Blue, is 5 foot 4 inches tall and is of medium build and has a mole on his nose. He's wanted for questioning in connection to the murder of Fernando Lopez Porta, committed on Thursday, January 1, 2015, on Corlettes Road, Spanish Town.
Traffickers often operate outside of formal systems, selling false promises to desperate people.
The neighborhood moneylender, the visa seller, the informal or uncertified job agency. And what begins as a dream quickly becomes a nightmare. This is the story of Delmarine Williams.
My story is very common, and the experience that I went through, a lot of persons are now going through that, more than people would imagine, because when I was there we had anywhere from 30 to 35 girls, and this gentleman would bring girls like every 2 weeks, and most of these girls are from the rural parishes, so it is very, very common. Being at the location, I was forced to do a lot of things sexually, to perform sexual favors on men and women, even couples, and we were forced at gunpoint. So whether you wanted to do it or not, you did not have an option. You would just have to do whatever they told you to do. After being there for about 8 months, the gentleman came and he told us that he had to leave, and so he gave us the option. Those who wanted to come with him to the new location could come, and those who wanted to go home could go home. And so more than half of the girls went with him, and a few of us opted to go home. Well, I would, if I could turn back time, the only thing that I think that I would have done differently is I would be more cautious. I would do proper research on these people that are offering this job, because if it seems so good to be true, it probably is. Because the offering for the money was good. Looking back at it, no employer would want to pick you up in a car, you know, on a location that's not even where the job is. So I think that I would have done that differently this time around. Certainly, I'm afraid of crowds now more than ever, because I don't know what is going on in the crowd. So I'm more aware of my environment to an extent. If I should take a taxi, I am just so cautious. I am constantly looking around where I am for signs of girls who are probably trafficked, because being in that situation for 8 months, you kind of know the ins and outs, you kind of know the look on the girls' faces. So if ever I'm in a crowd or if I'm on the street or anything like that, I'm constantly looking for girls who may be going through a similar experience. One of the advice that I would give to other young girls is just be cautious. If something looks too good to be true, it usually is. Do your extensive research and don't go to these places alone. Take somebody with you, or give somebody that you trust the information of where you're going, who you're going to meet, their telephone numbers and stuff like that. You have to be extremely cautious.
A story that speaks to the power of the human instinct to survive. We celebrate Delmarine Williams.
Criminals often count on the element of surprise to overcome their targets. If and when they do strike, make sure you deliver the surprise by being prepared. Here are today's safety tips.
Safety Tips, sponsored by Guardsman.
Most human traffickers prey on their victims by making them promises, offering them opportunities that they would probably never have had before, or offering a job, some kind of attractive thing to pull you out of your domain and get into theirs. So be very careful as you are invited to, or you apply to for jobs, or apply to go places, or things that just really don't feel too right. Be very, very conscious of what you're doing. So ensure that as you seek these opportunities, as you pursue these things, because let's face it, for us to get ahead in life, we have to step out of the comfort zone sometimes, but be careful when doing so. When traveling to a far location, let people know, and as I said before, if you can get somebody to go with you, it makes it that much safer. A lot of these opportunities are sometimes offered in other countries. Ensure that you let people know, you communicate at every step of the way, and you have someone in that other destination that you can notify, let them know you're coming, let them know you're going to contact them when you arrive, your potential arrival date, so that when you don't communicate, the alarm bells can go off earlier. A lot of us need to also understand that the traffickers will understand you. They have probably studied you within the first 48 hours of coming into contact with your information. They'll know your vulnerabilities, they'll know if you have family, they'll know if you have kids. So you need to ensure that you let everybody know what you're doing, and you yourself try and protect your information. Never give up your documents or your personal information. Be it your passport, be it your driver's license, anything like that that goes deeper into you as a person. Never surrender it to these people, no matter what. They have no right. They're not the immigration, they're not the police. Don't surrender it. They can show it, they can get copies, but never let them take custody of those travel documents or that information. Most traffickers will lure you into the situation by offering you something in your weakness zone, whether it is going to be romance, whether it is going to be big money, whether it's going to be great opportunities, whether it's going to be a fancy lifestyle. We need to be very conscious of these things. We need to listen to what they're saying. You need to cross-reference what they're saying. You need to make sure that it is real. Don't jump at it first go. Ask the questions. Do the cross-checks. Take your time. Don't rush into these decisions, because rushing sometimes gets you caught totally off guard and you become the subject of human trafficking.
As strange as it may seem, missing people and wanted criminals may not be hidden from view. They may take public transportation, shop, and mingle with people like you and me.
Other than life itself, one of the greatest things that one could arguably lose is one's freedom. Having watched this program, is there anyone you know right now who may be a victim of human trafficking?
Won't you help them? Your call may be their only escape. The number to call is 311. Don't hesitate. Speak out for those who cannot speak. I am Deidre Dixon.
And I'm Leroy Hall. See you again next week.